And my name's Stella Sexton. We became partners, Lancaster County, with MA Flip PA back in February and March when I served as co-campaign manager for Senator James Malone. And your group in Massachusetts did so much work to help us with that victory, phone banking, helping us to recruit volunteers. And we're so grateful for the partnership and everything that we can do together here in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, with Massachusetts. So, a couple of the hats that I wear. First of all, I am the Lancaster County Dems Vice Chair. My chair, Tom O'Brien, and I work very closely together. I remain on Senator James Malone's campaign team, and we are certainly getting ready to kick that into high gear. No surprise, he's going to be announcing his reelection campaign starting on December 1st. So we're about to really kick that into high gear. Also, together with State Representative Ismail Smith Waddell here in Lancaster County, he and I started a PAC specifically to target voters that may not have been hearing from the party in the way that they should have been in 2024. And that is called What Voters Deserve. And you can whatvotersdeserve.com. And we had a lot of success that I want to talk about in terms of our bilingual canvassing operation that we put on in Lancaster County this fall.
Well, of course, it was our pleasure to help you, and we were thrilled by the results. Were there any surprises that happened? Things either good surprises or bad surprises?
Well, a lot of good surprises, I would say, in Lancaster County. Lancaster County, we knocked more doors per capita than any other county in Pennsylvania in 2025. We ended the campaign cycle with 110,000 doors knocked. For comparison, we have a population of about 560,000. And so we knew that our local candidates who had been working hard, many of our local candidates had knocked over 2,000 doors individually for school board, municipal government roles. So we knew that we were going to have a pretty good night because of all the hard work our candidates had done to get out there. But even I was surprised at how good of a night it was. We were really unified as a county party in making sure that from top to bottom, every one of our candidates every one of our volunteers was not only knocking for those local races, but they were also talking to voters about the critical judicial elections that we had in Pennsylvania. So we made sure at every door, every voter we talked to, we talked about voting yes to retain all five of our judges. And we talked about electing Stella and Brandon Newman to Commonwealth and Superior Courts, respectively, at every door that we went to. And we saw those results pay off. I'm still going through, I have an intern from Franklin and Marshall I'm actually meeting with after this call, and I'm going to have her really dive into the numbers for me. But between 53 and 54% of Lancaster County voted yes to retain our judges. And Lancaster County is still a red county. We're getting purpler, but it is still a very red county. So that result is something that I'm just so proud of. The fact that Lancaster County went blue for all five of those retention questions. And I think that speaks to the hard work that we did and also to the fact that voters are wise to the fact that these were really fair and independent judges and justices. Stella and Brandon Newman each got about 48% of the vote here in Lancaster County, which again is something we're thrilled with. The best that a Democrat, a statewide judicial candidate had ever done before this was uh, 44%. So that's a 4 point increase from 2023 to 2025. And again, something that we're just thrilled with. We swept my township, Manheim Township, no longer has any Republican left at any level of office. So everyone from tax collector, school board, municipal government, all the way on up to State Senator James Malone is now a Democrat. So I've made a little blue bubble around myself here in Manheim Township. We flipped Hempfield School Board, which was being run by Moms for Liberty and the ILC, no longer. We flipped East Hempfield supervisors, and frankly, we picked up a ton of small seats in areas that Senator Malone won back in March. And the reason for that, I really believe, is that we had some excellent candidates who noticed that the senator won their ward or their borough and had flipped it. And they said, you know what, I can run for that. So there's a candidate in Elizabethtown Borough. His name was Matt Rodriguez. Well, I guess now he's a counselor-elect. Matt ran a great campaign in his ward, focused on local issues like there were tractor trailers parking on the street in his ward. A Democrat, and he, saw that Senator Malone won that ward, and he got to work, and he knocked his whole precinct 3 times, talked to everybody, and he won. So he'll be the first Democrat ever to serve on Elizabethtown Borough Council. We flipped Liddittsboro, similar stories all over. So yeah, there were some great surprises. And I think what it really shows is that success breeds success. And when people see that something is winnable, then you have a lot of good candidates who want to run in and get to work.
World. Yeah. How, if at all, do these results change how you're thinking about going forward, going into the midterms next year? Is there anything that you learned from what you did that you would change or that you would do more of or less of, or do you feel that you've, kind of created a framework that's going to be just leading to more and more success?
Well, there's always things that you can do better, and there's always things that you can improve. I think that while we did run a good campaign, I'm very excited with the change in leadership at the PA Dems and Chair Eugene D. Pasquale. When he came in at the beginning of September, it really was a breath of fresh air in terms of just the resources that were available to us, the support, the fact that, you can call Eugene anytime and he's there for us as a county party. He's there for our candidates. He showed up at that the school board race that I just mentioned that we flipped and kicked out the Moms for Liberty. He showed up to knock doors with those candidates, and that's the kind of state party chair that is going to get things done because he knows that what it means to get out and talk to voters. I should mention in Lancaster City, you talked about a success. We have our own a very popular young mayor. His name is Jamie Arroyo. He's going to be the first Latino mayor of Lancaster City. Jamie's Puerto Rican. Many of our city residents are Puerto Rican or Dominican. Jamie ran a great campaign. We had historic turnout. We think the highest turnout in a municipal election in a century in Lancaster City. Folks coming out to vote for Jamie Arroyo. So definitely look him up, or I'm happy to connect you for a future episode. But Jamie's going to be a great mayor. And so I would say, the partnership at all levels. Chair Ken Martin of the DNC actually visited us here in Lancaster County, as well as Malcolm Kenyatta, about a week or a few days before the election. So we were very excited about that as well, and offered, his full support in terms of especially reelecting Senator Malone, and growing turnout in central Pennsylvania, which is what we need to do to win Pennsylvania. So I feel very supported. I think something that we saw great success with, but I wish we had started earlier, was, what voters deserve, hired bilingual canvassers who are, community members. And we saw a lot of success. Again, still analyzing the data, but preliminary results are showing when we sent those Spanish speaking canvassers out into areas that had been ignored or that had only ever been canvassed by English speakers, we saw some areas where those precincts that we canvassed intensely, where there were, more Spanish speaking voters, we saw it turnout increases from 9, 10, 11% in those precincts, which is incredible. I think, and again, I haven't analyzed all this, but I think turnout overall increased around 4% or 5%. So we're seeing double digit increases. from that bilingual canvassing effort. I would just ask anybody to who wants to support our efforts in terms of Spanish language canvassing in Lancaster County to head to whatvotersdeserve.com. And obviously, we stand ready to talk to any other county and share our ideas and how we did it. But a lot of it is just old-fashioned hard work and getting folks out there on the doors. So we appreciate all your support and we look forward to continuing to partner with you in 2026.